As the group of friends set out on their road trip, they were filled with excitement and anticipation for the adventures that awaited them. Little did they know that their journey was about to take a terrifying turn. As they drove down the desolate highway, the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the empty road. The eerie silence that surrounded them sent shivers down their spines, and a sense of unease started to creep in. Suddenly, the car sputtered to a halt, the engine dying out in the middle of nowhere. Panic set in as they realized they were stranded, with no cell service and no other cars in sight. They knew they had to stay calm and figure out a way to get help. As they sat in the darkness, a faint sound could be heard in the distance. It started as a low rumble, growing louder and closer with each passing second. The friends exchanged nervous glances, their hearts pounding in their chests as the noise grew deafening. Out of the darkness emerged a figure, a sinister silhouette illuminated by the headlights of their car. Their blood ran cold as they saw the twisted grin on the face of the stranger, his eyes filled with malice. As he approached them, they tried to start the car, but it refused to budge, leaving them defenseless against the looming threat. The stranger reached the car, his hand reaching out to the door handle, a chilling smile curling his lips. The friends screamed in terror, knowing they were at the mercy of a malevolent force. In a split-second decision, they unbuckled their seatbelts and made a run for it, fleeing into the darkness as fast as they could. The sound of footsteps echoed behind them, growing closer with each passing moment. Their hearts raced as they realized they were being pursued by something inhuman. They stumbled upon an abandoned cabin in the woods, hoping to find refuge from their pursuer. But as they entered, they felt a sense of dread wash over them, realizing they were not alone. The cabin was filled with an otherworldly presence, the air thick with the stench of death. They huddled together, their fear consuming them. As they heard the footsteps outside grow louder and more menacing, they knew they were trapped, with no way out and no way to escape the horrors that awaited them in the darkness. As the night wore on, their terror reached a fever pitch, the sounds of their pursuer haunting their every move. They knew they were doomed, their road trip descending into a nightmare from which there would be no escape. And as the first rays of dawn broke through the darkness, the friends knew that their road trip horror story would be etched into their minds forever, a harrowing tale of fear and despair that would haunt them for the rest of their days. Buckle up and brace yourselves for a spine-chilling road trip like no other. The air is thick with tension as Sarah, Mark, and Emily set off on a long drive to their friend's remote cabin deep in the woods. The sun begins to set, casting eerie shadows across the deserted highway as they venture further away from civilization. As the darkness envelops the road, Emily notices a figure standing at the side of the highway, a hitchhiker alone in the middle of nowhere. Feeling a sense of unease, Mark insists they keep driving, but Sarah, ever the compassionate one, convinces them to stop and offer the stranger a ride. The hitchhiker climbs in the back seat, their face hidden in the shadows. The only sound is the hum of the engine as they continue down the desolate road. But as they approach a sharp turn, the hitchhiker's demeanor changes. Their breathing becomes labored, their hands trembling. Suddenly, the hitchhiker lunges forward, grabbing Sarah by the throat. Panic ensues as Mark swerves the car to avoid disaster, causing it to careen off the road and crash into a tree. Emily is thrown from the car, her screams echoing through the darkness. As Sarah struggles to break free from the hitchhiker's grasp, she catches a glimpse of their face. It's twisted with a sinister grin, revealing rows of sharpened teeth. With a surge of strength, Sarah manages to push the hitchhiker away and scrambles out of the car, frantically searching for Emily. Sarah's heart races as she hears footsteps approaching from the darkness. Just as she spots Emily's bloodied and broken body lying on the ground, a chilling voice whispers in her ear, "You should have kept driving." Terrified and alone, Sarah races through the woods, the sounds of pursuit growing closer with each passing moment. The night is filled with the echoes of her friends' screams as she realizes they are not alone in these dark woods. The road trip that was supposed to be a weekend getaway has turned into a nightmare of unimaginable horror as Sarah's desperate footsteps fade into The night, the true terror of the unknown, looms over her. Will she escape the clutches of the malevolent force that lurks in the shadows? Or will she become another victim of the road trip from hell? Only time will tell. It was a dark and stormy night, the kind that sends shivers down your spine and makes you want to stay indoors. But for four friends, it was the perfect setting for a road trip. They had been planning this adventure for months, and nothing was going to stop them from having the time of their lives. The four friends, Sarah, John, Megan, and Mike, piled into the car and set off on their journey. The rain was coming down hard and the wind was howling, but they were determined to push through. As they drove through the winding roads, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Every now and then, they would catch a glimpse of something in the shadows, but when they looked again, there was nothing there. They laughed it off, attributing it to the eerie atmosphere of the night. After hours of driving, they found themselves in the middle of nowhere, with no signs of civilization in sight. Suddenly, the car sputtered and came to a halt. They were stranded in the middle of the storm, with no cell service and no idea where they were. As they huddled in the car, trying to figure out what to do, they heard a tapping on the window. They all froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. When they looked outside, they saw a figure standing in the darkness, its eyes gleaming in the light of the car. Without warning, the figure lunged at the car, banging on the windows and screaming in an unearthly voice. The friends screamed in terror, trying to start the car and get away from whatever was outside. Just as they thought they were about to be attacked, the figure disappeared into the night. They wasted no time getting the car started again and speeding off into the darkness. The rest of the trip was a blur of fear and adrenaline as they raced to get to safety. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were being followed, and every noise outside the car sent shivers down their spines. When they finally reached the nearest town, they were out of breath and shaking. They stumbled into a hotel where they spent the night trying to make sense of what had happened. To this day, they still can't explain the horrors they experienced on that road trip. They know they will never forget the feeling of pure terror that engulfed them that night. And they will never be able to shake the feeling that something dark and sinister was watching their every move.